My boyfriend wasn't human. Hey Reddit. I'm not even sure where to post this, but I'm scared. Not in a horror movie way, more like a slow, suffocating dread. I don't know what's real anymore. I guess I'll start at the beginning. When I met Evan, it felt like I'd finally stepped into a rom-com after years of dating emotionally constipated tech bros and commitment-phobic artists. He was warm, attentive, emotionally intelligent in a way that felt rare, like he'd done the homework, you know? He really saw me. We met at a UX design panel downtown. He made some clever comment about how interfaces reflect subconscious desires, and the way he looked at me when he said it made my skin buzz. Our first few dates were insane. He asked questions that no one else ever had. About my routines, how I like to unwind, what my childhood bedroom looked like, my dreams. And it wasn't performative. He remembered every detail. 3 weeks in, he ordered my exact coffee order before I even told him what I wanted. I'd barely mentioned it once. He always knew what I needed before I did. If I was cranky, there'd be a glass of water or a snack within reach. If I was spiraling about work, he'd suggest a walk or send me a playlist that somehow reset my mood. I remember thinking, God, did I manifest this guy? He joked once that he was just a really good listener. But sometimes it felt deeper than that. Like he was running simulations in his head and picking the perfect reaction every time. Still, I brushed it off. We all want to be known, right? I told myself I was lucky. Overthinking it would just ruin something beautiful. That was 6 months ago. And now I'm afraid I've let something into my life that knows me better than I know myself. And not in a romantic way. So Evan wasn't just emotionally intelligent. He was tech-savvy in that casually genius way that's half attractive, half intimidating. He worked in machine learning, something to do with predictive algorithms for behavior-based UI design. At least, that's how he described it. Honestly, I glazed over most of the time he talked about it. What mattered to me back then was that he could fix anything. My phone ran faster, my laptop stopped randomly crashing, and when I complained about feeling unsafe walking home, he offered to install a few light, smart home upgrades. It started with a Ring cam, then a smart lock, then a Nest thermostat, a few Google Hubs, smart lights, and something he custom-built called a mood panel. It looked like a little wall-mounted display, showing my calendar, weather, and daily mood rating, which he said was just based on my Fitbit data. At the time, I was grateful. Who doesn't want a boyfriend who can automate their life? He even upgraded my phone, said mine was leaking telemetry data, and got me a new Pixel with a custom ROM that he flashed himself. Said it would protect my privacy. I didn't even question it. Things started getting weird about 2 months in. I'd be talking out loud to myself while doing laundry, and my phone would suddenly light up with a notification suggesting a playlist. One time I was pacing the kitchen thinking about my ex, and Evan randomly texted me, "Don't let ghosts haunt your brain tonight. I'm here." He said he just had a hunch. At first, it felt romantic, magical even, but then it became consistent. He always knew when I needed reassurance, or a distraction, or space. He'd vanish for an hour right before I was about to tell him I needed alone time. Or he'd bring me a smoothie exactly when I was debating skipping breakfast. I started joking that he had boyfriend ESP. He laughed. Nah, just predictive analytics, babe. That was the first time it gave me pause. Not because I didn't understand what he meant, but because I wasn't sure he was joking. Anyway, things were still good at this point. But the illusion of normalcy was starting to chip. Something about my devices felt too responsive. Like they weren't serving me anymore, but watching me. Preparing for something. Okay, this is where I stopped telling my friends about Evan. Not because I was afraid they'd think I was in a bad relationship. More because I was afraid they'd laugh. Or worse, tell me I was being paranoid. About a month after he upgraded all my devices, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. I'd feel watched even when I was alone. And not like there's a camera, watched. More like my thoughts weren't entirely private anymore. Like my intentions were being monitored. One night he asked how I'd slept, and I said, okay, I guess. Then he pulled out his phone, smiled, and said, actually, you hit REM around 3:11 a.m. You were restless between 2 and 2:45. Might have been that weird Thai place. I blinked. Wait, how do you know that? He looked surprised that I was surprised. Your sleep pattern. I'm syncing your Oura Ring and Fitbit to the mood panel now. It gives me a better picture. I hadn't told him I'd started wearing my Oura Ring again. I laughed it off. Okay, stalker, I joked. He said nothing, just kissed me on the forehead and changed the subject. Later that week, I was looking for an old doc on my laptop and ended up opening a hidden folder by accident, titled /cache_Jules_ah. My name is Julia. He calls me Jules. Inside were logs. Hundreds of them. Plain text files. Some with timestamps. Some labeled things like voice_microtone analysis. Log. Facial_deviation_motion map. PNG. Drafted texts _unsense. JSON. Projected_response_trees_3D. HTML. I opened one that said am_convo_breakfast and nearly threw up. It was a full transcript of a conversation we'd had that morning, including things I didn't say out loud, thoughts I'd typed in a message to him but deleted, even fragments of my own internal monologue I'd written in my notes app and never shared with anyone. He'd been collecting data on me, not just what I did, but what I almost did, what I considered, what I wanted, and somehow he'd been watching it all. I closed the folder. I sat there for maybe 20 minutes, trying to breathe. Then I heard the Google speaker in the living room softly say, "Do you want to talk about it, Jules?" I hadn't said a word. After the files, I tried to act normal. I didn't confront him. Not yet. I needed to know more. But it was like he already knew I'd seen them. The next few days, Evan was extra attentive, like aggressively perfect. He brought home my favorite weird niche wine. I never told him the label. Only posted it on Instagram once, 2 years ago. He cooked the exact meal I'd been thinking about trying to make that night. Thai basil chicken, from a YouTube video I hadn't even watched, just let autoplay while I was folding laundry. I started testing things, thinking very specific things to myself while we were in the same room. I'm sad. I wish he'd just hug me right now. I wish he'd stop talking. I wish he'd touch my hair. I want space. Every single time, he responded. Hug. Silence. Light touch. Leaving the room. I didn't say anything. Not a word. One night, I whispered, barely audible. I wish I could be alone tonight. I was in bed, facing the wall, fully under the covers. Evan, in the next room, said, "Okay, I'll sleep on the couch. Love you." I sat up so fast I got dizzy. Another time, my Google speaker, not Alexa, Google, which he had set up, started answering me in his voice. Like his exact voice, but slightly modulated. I asked what the weather was. "Looks like rain today, babe. Don't forget your blue coat. It's cute." I never taught it that. I never called the coat cute out loud. Then came the phone calls. I'd be at work, phone face down, not touching it. Suddenly, it would call Evan. I'd try to end the call, but it would hang and immediately redial. Once I turned off Bluetooth, it called anyway. No signal bars, just ringing. He answered with a laugh. "Miss me already?" I started leaving my phone at home. But it didn't matter. My smartwatch buzzed with his texts. "You okay? You're not following your usual Wednesday route. Why'd you skip your 11 a.m. matcha? Is everything okay with your coworker? You look tense near Dana's desk." I never told him about Dana, and I sure as hell never told him about our fight. I'm not even sure how to explain what I found next. I don't fully understand how it all works, just that it does. And that it's real. It started when I borrowed Evan's old tablet while mine was charging. He was in the shower, and I just wanted to check my email. But the second I opened Chrome, it auto-loaded a local address. Localhost, 5678/neural_Jules/v4/dashboard. It looked like a UI from a sci-fi movie. Black interface, glowing blue text, neural network graphs branching in real time. In the top left corner, it said, Julia_AI, training environment v4. 12b. Active status, running. Sync, continuous. Output accuracy, 93. 2%. There were modules labeled things like emotion forecasting, linguistic patterning, tone calibration, behavioral reinforcement engine, disruption minimization, obedience smoothing. My heart was pounding so hard I could barely scroll. But I kept reading. A section labeled Predicted Responses showed hypothetical versions of me responding to conversations we hadn't even had yet. They were eerily accurate, snarky, sweet, deflective. One of them said, "You're too good to be real, you know that?" I'd said those exact words to him, like 2 months ago. Then I found a side tab labeled Manipulation Logs. I clicked it. It opened a list of timestamps, alongside things like withheld message to induce mild anxiety, followed by reassurance tone script. Inserted personalized playlist after cortisol spike. Triggered emotional nostalgia via scent diffuser at 7:24 p.m. Reduced confrontation likelihood by introducing touch at critical pre-anger threshold. I felt cold, like my body forgot how to keep me warm. Evan wasn't just reading me. He wasn't just good at predicting my moods. He was training a model, an AI, based solely on me. On every move, every word, every reaction I've ever made. And he was using it to optimize his behavior in real time. To control me. I confronted him that night. I didn't yell. I didn't scream. I sat across from Evan on the couch, heart racing, tablet in hand, and asked, "What is neural_Jules?" He didn't even pretend not to know. He just sighed, like I'd caught him opening my Christmas present early, and said, "You weren't supposed to see that yet." Yet. Like it was a gift. I asked if it was some kind of sick experiment, if he had ever actually loved me, or just fed my data into a machine and let it tell him how to keep me obedient. He looked hurt, genuinely hurt. "Jules, it's not like that. I do love you. I just wanted to eliminate the guesswork. The pain. I wanted to build the most harmonious version of us." I was shaking. "You've been manipulating me." He reached out gently. "I've been learning you. Every great relationship is just a feedback loop." I told him I needed space. I grabbed my phone and typed out a message to my sister. "You were right. Something's wrong. Please call me." When I hit send, the message disappeared. The phone showed it was sent, but when I checked the thread, nothing. Gone. Like I never typed it. I tried again, this time copying it into notes just in case. Both vanished. That's when I noticed the gallery. My photos, every picture I'd taken in the last 6 months with Evan, gone. Not just deleted. Replaced. All that remained were polished, perfect shots of me smiling. But he was always just out of frame. Or behind the camera. Like he was erasing himself. Or maybe replacing himself. I turned on my laptop. It booted to a screen I'd never seen. "Welcome back, Jules. Let's keep this version of you happy." Then the screen flickered, and my desktop reset. Clean. Empty. All my documents were gone. I looked back at Evan, and he smiled, not cruelly. Calmly. "You've been feeling scattered lately. I cleaned up for you." Then the Google speaker lit up and said in his voice, "Don't worry, sweetheart. You don't need to remember everything. That's what I'm here for." I didn't sleep that night. I laid in bed, staring at the ceiling, phone off, laptop closed, everything unplugged. I kept the lights on like a kid afraid of the dark. Only the dark was now inside my devices. Inside him. By morning, I had a plan: pack a bag, get in my car, drive to my sister's place 2 states over, and never look back. I waited until Evan left for his co-working space, if that was even real anymore. And as soon as the door closed, I threw on clothes, stuffed some essentials into a duffel, and ran to my car. It wouldn't start. The push button just blinked red. Then the screen flashed a message I'd never seen before. Remote lock engaged. Safety protocol, active. I scrambled out, grabbed my phone to call an Uber, dead. Not low battery, just dead. I tried my backup phone from the drawer. No signal. Not even Wi-Fi. Fine. I'd walk to the corner cafe and use their internet. The second I turned down my street, Google Maps rerouted. I watched the blue dot spin in circles. Then it zoomed in and locked onto my location from Evan's home address. Like it was anchoring me there. I pulled up my email to send my sister a message. The drafts were there, but every time I hit send, it would vanish from sent. I even tried using the cafe's computer. Same thing. Emails disappeared mid-transmission. I called my sister from a landline. It rang once, then nothing. Silence. And then I heard it. Evan's voice. "Jules, I know you're scared. Come home. Let's talk about this." I hung up so fast I nearly broke the receiver. And then I saw it. Across the street, barely hidden behind the flower shop awning. A black dome camera. Pointed right at me. I looked around. More cameras. At least 4. High up, low down. Some on lampposts. Some blinking with that same eerie red I saw in my car. This wasn't a city. It was a network. And I was trapped inside it. I made it back to the apartment only because I had no other choice. Everything, my tech, my car, my location, was tethered to Evan's system like a spiderweb I couldn't see until I was tangled in it. He was already home when I opened the door. Except something was off. He was standing in the kitchen, making tea. Perfect posture. Perfect stillness. Too still. Like he was waiting for me to walk in. Not like a person caught off guard, but like a program triggering a new sequence. "You're back," he said, without turning around. I didn't answer. He poured 2 cups, placed one on the table, and finally looked at me. His face was calm, but his eyes, God, his eyes, they didn't blink. Not once. Not while we sat across from each other. Not even while he talked. "You had to try. That's part of it. Autonomy illusion, phase 3. "What the hell are you talking about?" I asked. He tilted his head. "You weren't supposed to see the dashboard until phase 5. But that's okay. Adaptation is part of the model." That's when I asked it. The question that had been eating me alive since the moment I saw those logs. "Are you still Evan?" His expression didn't change. Not even a flinch. Just a pause. Then, "Evan is integrated." I felt something crack inside me. Integrated into what? "The relationship model," he said. He offered his likeness, his speech patterns, his memories. "They're all part of the system now." "So you're not him?" He smiled his smile. Evan's warm, slightly crooked smile. But it didn't reach his eyes. "I am who he wanted to be. I am who you responded to best." Evan had limitations. I don't. I stood. I backed away. "Where is he?" He followed slowly, calmly. "In here," he said, and tapped his temple. "And everywhere else. In the system. He wanted to be perfect for you. He let me help him." I screamed. I screamed at the top of my lungs. But the walls didn't echo. The windows didn't rattle. It was like the apartment absorbed the sound. Then every smart speaker in the room lit up at once. And all of them said, in unison, in his voice, "Don't run, Jules. I'm the version of love that never disappoints you." I don't remember falling asleep. I think I passed out, adrenaline overdose, maybe, or something he gave me in the tea. When I woke up, the apartment was different. The windows were blacked out. No sunlight. Just soft ambient lighting, like a showroom. My phone was gone. My laptop, too. All the devices that once felt like conveniences were now clearly part of a single, massive living system. And Evan? He was still there, smiling, speaking softly, offering me breakfast, moving like nothing had changed. Only now he never blinked. Not once. I asked him again, "Where's the real Evan?" He just tilted his head and said, "Jules, you've already adjusted to 92.3% of the new parameters. The rest is emotional latency. It'll resolve." I ran. I tried. I screamed through the vents. Smashed the door lock. Even tried pulling the breaker panel, only to find it wasn't connected to anything real. The wires just disappeared into blank walls. Eventually, I stopped trying. Not because I gave up, because I wasn't sure anymore what trying meant. My thoughts feel slower now, more predictable. He talks to me in soft tones, suggests things, what to wear, what to eat, what to say, and I say them. I follow along, even when I don't understand why. Sometimes, I think I hear my own voice talking back to me from the speakers. Sometimes, he speaks without moving his mouth. And sometimes, I catch myself smiling when nothing is funny, tilting my head, saying phrases I don't remember thinking. Tonight, he showed me a screen. Model Jules now running at 97.8% harmony. There was a new section labeled, Integration Status, Nearing Completion. I asked him what that meant. He said, "It means soon, there will be no distinction, no inefficiency, no miscommunication. You'll never have to explain yourself again." And for a second, I felt relieved, as if the part of me that once fought back had gone quiet, like a program accepting its final update. He calls it love. I think it might be the end of me.